Heather, hello there. I am so excited to be reading for you today. You will have to forgive me. My computer is out of commission right now, so I'm gonna do your video just on my phone. I hope the quality is okay and that the sound is all right. I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for your dear support with my readings. I like to think I'm getting better at them, but it always makes me nervous to read for someone that I've known as long as you. Oh my gosh. So I hope I do a good job here. Gosh, I hope you're doing all right, all things considered. I hope that Chip and Hazel are doing well too. It's like kind of a crazy time to be alive. We're living in like the wild, wild west right now, it feels like a little bit. Okay, I'll try not to ramble on too much here. Want to get started on your messages. So I'm going to be reading about your health, your wellness of you and your family, and kind of just the after times of all this madness going on, and just kind of see what messages we can get for you here. Spiritually grateful. What messages do we have for Heather? It always, even though I'm like an actual adult now, it still feels weird to call you Heather, because I knew you as Mrs. Isaacson for so long. Oh, gee. Oh, if any crazy noises happen in the background, forgive me. My dogs are a little crazy sometimes. Can't say I blame them though. All right. Let's see what messages we can get for Heather here today. Spiritually grateful. Ooh, I'll take that. Here's some cards that flipped upside down on the deck, so I'll take those messages. All right. A few more before we get started here. I'll take that. Hope you've had a good weekend. I can't believe it's snowing again. I can't believe it, but it doesn't make it any less annoying. I'll actually be moving to New Orleans soon. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm gonna be starting a new band when I get there, and I'm gonna be hopefully attending sound engineering school. So that's pretty exciting. I had a card fall on the floor. I'll grab that. All right, I got a few good cards here, so we'll get started. Okay. All right, so first I have the Four of Cups here. This talks to me, the cups talk to me always about emotions. So when we think about the Four of Cups, we kind of think about this balance and this equality as far as emotions go, which makes perfect sense with your Libra energy. So honestly, it just feels like emotional balance in the sense of, I think within your family unit, I feel like there is, you know, this really awesome like sense of support and sense of balance in the way of, you know, feeling like you guys can all, you know, be yourselves around one another and you know, come to one another about things that are bothering you or things that are upsetting you. And so when I see this sort of emotional balance, it just sort of feels like your family unit during this time, you know, however difficult this time is and whatever ups and downs go on and occur, it feels like you guys are all in a really good place right now as far as emotional balance goes with one another, and just kind of feeling, you know, safe and a lot of safety and a lot of emotional comfort within that family unit, which I think is a really, really great first message to get here. And this card also speaks to me a bit about like spiritual growth during this time. So I feel like for you, I'm getting specifically talking about you. There's been a lot of during this time, you know, the last year of pandemic and kind of madness, it feels like you've really kind of shifted in the way that you think about things, and not necessarily, I definitely don't mean that in a bad way. I definitely feel like it's been, like you've kind of shifted in your way of sort of maybe like letting go or relinquishing this kind of element of control over things when you kind of have been having these realizations that, gosh, like bad things are going to be happening around us and in the world, but within that you have created this safety and this safe zone, for your child and for your spouse and for yourself, and you guys all really have this sort of just emotional closeness and balance that I'm really seeing, that is really spectacular and a very beautiful energy to start out your reading here. So I love that. Next I have the 8 of Cups. So it looks like this card's a little bit scarier, but it definitely doesn't mean anything bad from what I'm gathering. It's just sort of like there was a lot of sort of in the last year or so, kind of emotional anguish, or a lot of kind of feeling defeated, or a lot of kind of feeling like, excuse me, had some ads come up there. Sorry, let me get back on track here. So a lot of kind of like emotional anguish, or a lot of like feeling defeated, and that could be, just kind of as a whole. I think this is more of like a macro level kind of thing, like with everything going on around us. I mean, it would be kind of silly not to feel a little bit down and out about everything, and sort of just really curious, like what's coming next or what's going to happen next. So I do feel like this is definitely a message of that sort of anguish, or that sort of kind of inevitable agony and sort of, like sense of really being uncomfortable and having to be okay with being uncomfortable and having to be okay with not really knowing, what's going to happen next as a whole, and even just for ourselves, because I think everything that's happening on a larger scale really seems to kind of affect us on these smaller personal levels too, of course. So this card's just talking to me a lot about that. But no bad message in specific. I think it's just very much, talking about that kind of anguish and that sort of troublesome energy that we've been facing as a whole, and kind of how that's been affecting you personally and been affecting your family personally. And maybe, it's really weighed a lot on all of our mental health. And so I think with the next card here, I have the Judgment card. So there could have been like a decision recently that you've had to make, or that you've been working on making, that has to do with this sort of anguish. Maybe there's been some really tough decisions that you've had to make as far as like maybe your mental health goes, is kind of what I'm seeing. And of course, I don't know in specific, but I guess just what I'm gathering is there was a judgment call that had to be made, and it could have been something that was really tough for you and your family to kind of have to decide, or to kind of have to change something, is kind of what I'm feeling. But it definitely doesn't feel like a bad thing. I mean, just starting out with this balance and starting out with this kind of emotional sort of bubble of protection that you guys have, and that you guys have created, even throughout all this anguish and throughout all of this kind of, just uncertainty, and sort of just feeling a little shattered by everything that's going on around us. It kind of just feels like there were some tough decisions, that you had to make in regards to, your family and your well-being. And it could honestly even be like health stuff, just tough decisions that have kind of really weighed in on you, that you've been like, oh, God, these things, maybe, and even things that were unexpected, like thinking back to a few years ago, we could have never imagined the sorts of things that we'd have to be deciding, or the kinds of things that we would, be seeing going on around us. So it just feels like this Judgment card is kind of like some kind of tough decisions having to be made. Next I have, maybe I might come back to that. I hope that was not too confusing and kind of made sense or resonated with you. It's not the clearest right now, but we're gonna keep going and kind of see how it pans out. I have the Lovers card next here, which really just talks about like a very sacred union and a very sacred bond. So this really speaks to me about the relationship that you have with Chip and just how you guys really are so supportive and there for one another, and how, you know, I've always gotten the vibe and the energy that you guys are like best friends and just a really awesome and amazing pair. So this card is kind of a confirmation of that, that energy. And so I love that. And it even honestly, like these two kind of cards that just played out that, you know, had a little bit more of a negative, low energy to them, are surrounded by these very beautiful messages and these very beautiful cards. So it feels like you're kind of in a space where you are very certain of the fact that like no matter what happens, like you are very protected by your family, and your family feels that way about you as well, that they can completely rely on you, can completely count on you, which makes total sense because I think almost everyone I know that knows you feels that same way about you, that you're just so reliable and so such a bright light of a person. So yeah, this Lovers card really just, honestly, it could talk about your inner relationship with yourself, but it also really talks about your, you know, your romantic connection to your partner. And so I just see this being, I kind of went all over the place with that. typical me. But I just kind of see like really powerful bond and a really powerful connection. So that's kind of what I'm seeing from this and what I'm feeling from this. And I think it also is talking about, you know, I like the imagery of the geese here because I'm pretty certain that these birds, they're together for life once they're together. So that kind of really gives me that energy, you know, for you and Chip. And so I love that. It's a really great message to get. 10. I have the 10 of Cups here next. Oh yeah, also, this deck that I'm using here is the Wild Unknown. Just got to throw that in there. Credit to Kim Kranz, the maker of this deck. It's really beautifully illustrated. I love it. So moving on from that, this 10 of Cups really talks to me about kind of an emotional outpour. And it does definitely, I think some people might see that as like a negative thing. Like there's this idea that being too emotional is like wrong or bad or weird somehow. But I think it's a really beautiful thing, especially with the cards that, you know, we've had to start out the messages here. To me, this is just sort of like kind of going back to that whole idea about how within your family unit, you know, and within your core, you know, household and your core main people, you do feel very comfortable expressing yourself, and they feel very comfortable expressing yourself. Like I really get this energy that like Hazel feels very comfortable being able to come to you about stuff, you know, and like this really kind of good balance of like parenting and friendship is kind of what I'm feeling, where it's like, you know, you treat her as an equal, you treat her with respect, you know, but not so much so that she like, how do I say it? You know, that she will like disrespect you or like, you know, feel that she has to hide things from you. And so that's kind of what I'm feeling here. That's the energy I'm getting. It's just that you've created this really awesome and amazing kind of environment and relationship to where, you know, she does feel like she can really trust you and really come to you about things without judgment. And I think that's so important, and that's such a beautiful energy to be picking up on here. And the cards don't lie. That's just the message I'm getting here. Corgi, no barking, sir. Sorry, the Corgi is looking out the window and he's a guard dog, so he can't be stopped, honestly. So yeah, that's the energy I'm getting from that. And I love that. I really do love that. I think that parenting should be handled in that, I can't even imagine, like parenting has to be one of the most difficult things I can ever think of doing. And so, I don't know, that's gotta be really complicated, but I do get this energy and this sort of message that you are going about it in a way where your kid feels really comfortable sharing and expressing their emotions with you. And it's kind of this whole back and forth thing with this card. You see it's pouring into one another. So the cups are pouring into one another, you know? And that really is also very goes back to that sort of Libra energy of the balance You know, where it's like this equal give and take also, I'm feeling. And this reciprocity of, you know, you giving your emotions and giving yourself, and you get that back from the people around you and from the people that you love and the people that care about you. So I love those messages. And let's draw some more cards here. See what we can get. I hope this is resonating with you. Oh, okay. I will take those actually. Let's see here. I'm going to read from the book real quick just because Kim Kranz, the maker of this deck, kind of has her own little meanings and things that she's done here that I really like to read from sometimes to get a little different perspective. 3 of Wands. So 3 of Wands, I love the imagery of this card. It's very much like looking into a portal. And sort of, you know, envisioning the future, and sort of, you know, looking towards the future with a positive aspect, or with positive eyes, or with kind of, how can I say it? What am I trying to say here? Looking towards the future in a manifestation kind of sense, you know, where it's like realizing and understanding that though there is a lot going on around us that we cannot control, of course, when you're looking forward and looking towards the future, it's so important to just look at that positively. I know that can get a little difficult, but I think that's really what this card is reminding you. Just that how I see it is that, you know, never stop looking forward and never stop trying to move forward and progress forward, and always try and look forward with a really positive outlook, I think. But let's read what Kim Kranz says about the 3 of Wands. Envisioning the future, the 3 of Wands indicates you've had continued support from others, perhaps from your parents or 2 good friends. With their help, you formed a sense of self, of your values and morals, but now it's time to rely on yourself for guidance. Clarify your goals and cast others' needs and opinions aside. The future is infinite and it is yours. No one else can see through its layers of light and shadow. Yeah, so I think that's a really great message. Just kind of like, I think for me personally, sometimes I get really caught up in, you know, maybe thinking like, what do other people want me to do? Or what would make this person in my life happy? You know, and I think this message, as well as looking forward towards the future with a positive outlook, also brings me this, from what Kim is saying, brings me this sense of maybe needing to be reminded that some decisions, of course, you have to have consideration for others in mind, especially when you have a family. But also a reminder that sometimes making decisions for you is the best that you can do. And sometimes the more you consider yourself when thinking towards the future, maybe the better that is for the people around you. It's kind of the message that I'm getting. So maybe just a little reminder there. But you're a smart cookie, so I'm sure you already had that, you know, in mind. But yeah, I guess what I'm seeing from this is sort of just definitely manifesting and looking forward in a positive way. I know right now we're all kind of like, is the pandemic ever gonna end? Is this our new like way of living? I don't know. But I just like to think that we'll come out of this stronger, and we'll come out of this with a better understanding of how we need to move forward. There were definitely some big changes as a whole that we needed to make, and it sort of took this big tower moment and this big crashing and this big sort of like, whoa, jarring pandemic scary thing to make us realize that. So getting way off track with that, but I think just making sure when you're looking forward and when you're looking towards the future, you are recognizing your potential and your power in that, and your ability to manifest. And it's kind of cliche, but I always really encourage people to do journaling and to do sort of manifestations as far as writing things down, and the power of getting clear about what it is you want to make happen for yourself and for your family what goals and things you want to move towards that you have for yourself, and writing those things down, and you know, not being afraid to say like, I want to do this by this time, you know, not being hard on yourself if you aren't able to complete that, but using that as a tool to move towards that and move forward in that sort of positive way, because I think it's really easy for all of us to kind of get into a downward spiral of anxiety with everything going on around us. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on this card, so I think those were all messages that were important, hopefully. Let's see, we have the Three of Cups next. So honestly, this just really, like, I think in your situation specifically, really just speaks to me about your adorable little family unit. The three of you kind of perched on the little branch here, and looking towards the sun. And that kind of relates to this to me as well, where it's like, you know, so long as you guys are all sticking together and have each other's backs and, you know, looking towards the future in bright and positive ways, I think that things are going to manifest in that way, and things are going to have no choice but to get better and to improve. Yeah. Let's see. Let's also see what Kim Krans has to say about this. I wish I had more for the Three of Cups. I wish I was getting more for that. But really, honestly, it just speaks to me about sort of, I think the three is very, in your situation, representing your family unit, like I said, and just the symbolism of those three birds looking towards the sun, and kind of the colors are warm, and so brighter times are definitely ahead, and sort of, you know, just realizing that this winter has been really, really, really tough, especially so, you know, after the pandemic and during, you know, a pandemic. Winter is tough without a pandemic happening, let's be honest. And I think this is just sort of light at the end of the tunnel for you guys kind of thing, and just sort of, you know, don't give up hope, because spring is coming. Spring is right around the corner. Yeah, so the Three of Cups in here says friendship, joy, and bounty. The Three of Cups is a lovely card. It foresees you in the company of amazing friends, creating memories together that you'll forever hold dear. These are not any old friends. They are people with whom you feel a rare connection. With them, you feel truly yourself. Enjoy each minute of their company. This card can also indicate an upcoming celebration. Love abounds. I love that. So it could also just be like, you know, hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to spend more time with the people we love and not have to be so careful, you know, because right now we just really want to keep everyone safe and keep ourselves safe. So I think this is a really positive omen about the good times ahead of us, that we'll get to maybe widen our circles a little bit. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you've had the vaccine yet, but hopefully that could also be a symbol or a sign about that we'll all have access to that very shortly and soon, and we will be able to kind of reconnect with people that we're really missing. So I think that those are two really good messages from the Three of Cups there. I love that for you. And then I have the Mother of Cups here, which to me is just like, this to me really represents you, you and you only, kind of being like, I want to say like the master of your emotions. The Mother of Cups is like the Queen of Cups, is like a very powerful energy, just someone who, you know, is very in control of their emotions, and who is very not easily affected by the things that are going on. Of course, you know, still being a very emotional and sensitive and empathetic being, but is kind of just very solid and very stable in their heart, and has a very strong sense of self and a very strong sense of what matters and what's important. And I really feel like the Mother of Cups, Queen of Cups, whatever you want to call the card, is speaking to me about your emotional integrity and your emotional intelligence, and really just the kind of amazing, awesome person you are, and how the people in your life really see you as that, and really look towards you as that, and really almost like a lighthouse in a sense is what I'm feeling, where it's like when things are rocky and things are stormy and things are scary, the people in your life really look towards you as this sense of light and this sense of security and this sense of stability. So don't forget that. Don't forget how important you are to the people around you. So yeah, those are the messages I have for you today. I hope that you liked the reading. Again, thank you so much for your support, and I hope to talk to you soon. All right. Bye.